We're on the Brompton Road, we're heading west, and then over to the left, just a few yards ahead, we've got this wonderful terracotta structure, which is our probably most famous department store here in the capital. This is Harrods. They have 72
Having just returned from a trip to England and France, our confusion and frustrations were many regarding COVID-19 testing. We wasted hundreds of dollars and precious vacation time trying to make sense of the testing requirements. So, here is a quick, how-to guide on traveling to Great Britain and France. I'll do my best to keep it simple. These constraints are being put in place in unsystematic partial measures by governments trying to keep their citizens safe, and travelers healthy while visiting their countries, so it may get a bit confusing. Important to know that the information provided in this video is up to date as of October 2021. Future changes will occur without notice, so you must confirm current travel restrictions in the US and foreign countries before traveling. For detailed and current travel information, visit these websites. As of October 4, 2021, there are no longer green and amber countries, only red regions. Prior to this date, a stoplight color scheme was used to rank countries as to their infectious danger to UK citizens. Now only potentially highly infectious nations are on a red list. Fortunately, the United States is not on this list. To save you time, if you are not from the United States or have recently traveled through a country on the red list in the last 10 days or have not completed a full course of the COVID-19 vaccine, this video presentation will not provide you the needed information for authorized travel into the UK or France. There is a lot of paperwork to prepare, so let's get started. First, vaccines. Not all vaccines are approved for entry into the UK and France. Make sure you have been vaccinated with one of these vaccines: Oxford, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Moderna, Janssen. You need to have your COVID vaccinations completed 14 days before departure. The day you have your final dose does not count as one of the 14 days. You will be required to show proof with a vaccination certificate. If you do not have this proof of vaccination document, contact your health insurance company or the organization that provided the injections. This document is usually available to download online. I recommend taking a clear photo of the QR and associated documents and keep them available on your phone. You should carry the original hard copies in your luggage as a precaution in case of loss. So now you have proof of vaccination. That's your first document out of 8 you will want to have on your trip. You need to be tested for COVID-19 72 hours before you leave, no earlier. To clarify, you would have had your injection 14 days before leaving. It is not getting a shot again. This is the swab of your nostrils procedure by inserting a small applicator. You will need this test a total of 3 times. Before you leave the US. When you arrive in England. And before you return to the US. You must check with your test provider that the test meets the standards. You may not be able to travel if it does not. This could include tests such as a nucleic acid test, including a PCR test, a LAMP test, an antigen test, such as an LFD, lateral flow device, test. I took my test through my insurance company, which required up to 48 hours for testing results to be emailed. Gladly, I received the test results the next day. My travel colleague tested at a national brand drugstore in the US. The results came back 6 days later. Fortunately, I suggested taking the test at a specialized lab focused on travelers because the drugstore could not guarantee the results would be ready in 48 hours. The cost for the testing lab was $150, and the results were received later that day. Well worth it considering we would have needed to cancel the trip had we relied on the drugstore. Be mindful, you only have a 72-hour window to get your COVID-19 test taken and get your results back in time before boarding your flight. So now you have the proof of vaccination and the COVID-19 test completed and out of the way. Next. Before you travel, you may now book and pay for a Day 2 COVID-19 travel test to be taken after you arrive in England. You can go to this website for additional information. Find a coronavirus, COVID-19, travel test provider if you're arriving in England. You should receive an online document confirming payment and scheduling of where and how to get your COVID-19 test once in the UK. You need the reference number to obtain your passenger locator form. If you are fully vaccinated, you will see, book and pay for a 2 COVID-19 test, and complete a passenger locator form. Before you select the COVID-19 testing service, please consider the following.
The government does not recommend any particular test provider. Do your own research. For example, read reviews about available providers, the tests they supply and their terms and conditions. As you can see on the gov.uk website, there are many testing sites available and prices vary. As of October 24, 2021, fully vaccinated passengers and most under 18 arriving in England from countries not on the red list can take a cheaper lateral flow test, on or before day 2 of their arrival into the UK. These can be booked from the 22nd of October. Passengers will need to take a photo of their lateral flow test and booking reference supplied by the private provider and send it back to them to verify the result. US passengers are also able to book to have a test which they can take on their arrival into the UK at testing centres located in some airports. The arrival test must be taken as soon as possible on or before the second day of a passenger's arrival in the UK. Lateral flow tests for international travel must be purchased from a private provider, as NHS test and trace tests cannot be used for international travel. This is a major benefit for those travelling into the UK. Previously, the PCR test had to be scheduled far in advance, relying on unpredictable mail services, and more expensive lab processing costs. The lateral flow tests are easy to self-administer, with results in minutes or hours depending on the testing clinic or lab. You now have your proof of vaccination, your first COVID-19 test certificate, your COVID-19 vaccine purchase and scheduled appointment document, and the completed passenger locator form. You may come across the U.S. Passenger Disclosure and Attestation to the United States of America form, however no one requested to see it. It's up to you if you wish to carry it. The CDC has a similar form under the same title, which expired in June 2021. Once again, no one asked to see that form. With the addition of the U.S. Passenger Disclosure and Attestation to the United States of America form, and of course, your passport, you are all set for this part of your journey. Congratulations, you should now be ready to board your flight. Now, depending on the day you arrive and the location for your supervised COVID-19 testing, you must make it a priority to complete the testing within the 2-day period. Note: in England we found that we could call 119 for related COVID-19 questions. That's it. Dial 119. We experienced no wait times and the department directory was well designed and easy to select the right department for help. The people answering our questions were always friendly, patient, and extremely knowledgeable. I highly recommend remembering this number. If you are traveling from the UK to France, all of the requirements still apply. However, in France you must show proof of vaccination before entering most all public places. The French take the proof of vaccination very seriously. There is also this document, including several variations of it. The sworn undertaking to comply with rules for entry into metropolitan French territory. As in the U.S. Passenger Disclosure and Attestation to the United States of America form, no one requested to see any of these documents. Here is the French website address where you can find additional information regarding COVID-19 and travel restrictions. And finally, number 8, you must get a COVID-19 test within 3 days, before leaving for the U.S. In our case we took the rapid antigen test the day before our return flight. The results were emailed to us within a few hours. Keep the test results handy. You'll need to show proof of testing when checking in for your flight. Other tests are available, check the U.S. government website for details. And now, let's review all the tests, documents, and timelines one last time. 1. Approved CDC proof of vaccination certificate. You must complete your full course of vaccine dosage, at least 14 days before your flight.
Remember, the day you have your final dose does not count as one of the 14 days. 2. COVID-19 test and certificate. Must be taken within 72 hours before your flight. 3. Document showing purchase and scheduling of a supervised COVID-19 test. This can be completed any time before landing. 4. Passenger locator form. Obtain before landing. 5. Passenger disclosure and attestation to the United States of America form. Optional. 6. Passport. Before check-in. 7. 2-day COVID-19 traveler negative results document including QR code. You'll need to get tested within 2 days of arrival. And number 8. The supervised COVID-19 test for your return to the U.S. This must be taken within 72 hours of departure. I hope this made the COVID-19 testing process a little clearer. At the very least, perhaps this video provided you with a roadmap of what to expect. I apologize if any information that was provided is not clear or incomplete. I'm not a travel expert, but I believe I got most of the information correct. Please check the aforementioned government websites for the most current and accurate information. Safe travels to all.